Is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No. Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Monday morning. We're so thrilled that you are joining us with us today because for tens of millions of Americans, the Thanksgiving travel rush is about to begin. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Few of us are. Okay, around 30 million of us. The travelers are expected to jam airports this year. The roads will also be very busy. AAA predicts almost 50 million Americans will drive, but at least gas is much cheaper. The average Thanksgiving dinner is also costing Americans less this year. It's down to $61 thanks to cheaper turkeys and cranberries.
That's why I love that holiday. It's like affordable food. I love it.
It's very true, and I have some tips here that are going to help us as well. So what are we all planning this year? Stop smiling in a weird way. What are you planning this year?
I'm laughing that we're pushing a narrative like the economy's great. Yeah, gas is down, turkeys are free.
Well,
yeah, no, it's not.
Gas is down. It used to be last year $3.58 a gallon. This year, the average gas price is right around $3. So it's down about 60 cents. That's a lot.
Not where I fill up. It's on $3.
Yeah,
so
you got to drive around.
But that's great. That's great. The economy's perfect.
Tell me about your turkey day.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about Thanksgiving, shall we?
Shall we?
You know, you got to expect this. Christmas time, it's crazy. Thanksgiving, it's crazy. Guess what? It snows in the winter. It's crazy.
There's storms
It's crazy,
coming.
yeah. So we do these stories every year, but it's like you got to prepare. Just like when it's cold outside, you put on an extra layer. You prepare yourself for what's ahead. So calm down these holiday season. I'm telling myself that.
Yeah.
Right?
Are you traveling?
Staying home, which is why I'm so.
Oh, that's
which is why I'm such in a good mood about it. Yeah.
You have the swag of a man that's going to be in house slippers
Yeah.
while everybody's in bumper.
I host, right? So I'm cooking everything.
okay.
So
Yeah.
don't tell me prices are down. I go to the store every day. They're not down.
Well, you're
How
a
many
man
are
of
you
fancy
hosting
cheeses.
for?
This year I'm only hosting 5, so it's good.
Okay, that's
It's not
good.
a big one, yeah.
What
But I
about-
do cook for 30.
You notice she said hosting, and Erica's like, and you didn't consult me? Erica should be like a hosting consultant that like flies 300 nights a year to just go and tell people, you know how to host a party.
She stops in like Santa. Not this. Do that. Use
She's
this.
never overwhelmed. You'll have 20 people in your house.
Yeah, this year I'm very sad. We're so consolidated. Like my dad's not able to come. Like I literally cried on Friday.
Oh,
I'm
Roosevelt.
so upset.
Oh,
yeah, I could
no.
cry now.
Oh, honey.
Anyway,
oh.
yeah. So my dad is a business owner, and obviously he does a lot of stuff himself. He's so very hands-on.
Yeah.
And he's just not able to make it, and it's so disappointing.
It's very relatable that.
Yeah, but so we're probably only gonna have like maybe 12 this year.
Only 12.
Yeah, that's a basketball team.
The whole team.
Yeah, with backups,
Yeah.
assistant coach.
That's the traveling team.
Clipboards. Yes.
The past couple years, I mean, we normally have about like 20 to 25,
Yeah, you have a
so
full
I'm
house.
very sad about that. But my brother was like, listen, we're just gonna create something that's gonna be for this year. It'll be really special.
Yeah.
It's like, I think we should lean in on the Italian side. So he's like, he goes, I'm gonna consult my co-chair, which apparently is my husband.
There you go.
So they're gonna do like kind of an Italian influenced dinner, and I'm excited about it. We just decided to do something a little different.
And you'll remember it. That'll be memorable.
Yeah.
Al, you staying here? Are you flying?
I'm flying.
You're flying. Seeing the kiddos?
Yes, always.
Right on. I'm going home and see Judy, everybody. I know you're all
shout out.
worried.
Look, I mean, a couple months ago, I know we got to move
I
on.
know.
We didn't think we'd be having this conversation.
totally
so
agree.
I hope that's not lost on you, girl.
I totally agree. Thank you for saying that. All right, so as we're all gearing up for Thanksgiving, we got some guest etiquette tips, thanks to the folks over at Food Network, to ensure you're the best guest. Okay, so how many do you agree with? First up, bring something, even if your host insists it's not necessary, okay? We all agree with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, wow. Next, as a guest, it's a great idea to bring a dish anyone can eat, even if they're gluten-free or vegan. You're often safe with any vegetable dish. I think that's fair to think about.
Do you want to be safe?
Have that talk.
What I've done, because I've had people who are gluten-free and vegan and vegetarian and stuff. So when they ask, because I always say this is what we're having, and then what could we have that would, satisfy your needs. But then I also ask, if they ask me if they can bring something like, hey, what's your favorite vegan dish or vegetarian or whatever?
You tell them no, because it'll be gross.
That's terrible. Sam would hate you.
Other people can be introduced to food that they enjoy.
That's a great point.
And it's like they may not even know that this
That's
is
a great
vegan
point.
or vegetarian. So yeah.
That's a
It's
great
also
point.
good to be like, hey, are you cooking? You gonna make something vegan? I'm like, no, we'll just meet up after.
Sam is gonna hate you so much. All right,
I'm not cooking with no butter on Thanksgiving.
for
Like,
an Italian, that's hard to hear.
How are you supposed to cook anything?
Or cheese. No cheese.
That's
Oh,
hard.
get real. No cheese.
Turn your dish into. He's like sacrilegious. Like I
He's
said,
like,
so
he's
against
off
the
the
Pope.
show right now.
If you
Still
don't like
mad.
cheese, we're not spending holidays together. That's how it goes. Yeah.
Oh man, please write in if you're vegan. All right, turn your dish into twice the gift. Bring food baked or served in a brand new dish that can be given then to the host.
No.
Like a casserole dish.
Why?
Absolutely.
Because of spatial issues, Erica. I don't want 27 trays at my crib now. What do you think? I wish.
First of all, you're having 27 people come over and
Erica
bake
is.
things for you?
I mean, if everybody left their dish, that's a lot of dishes because you already have dishes. I get the sentiment, but that's a lot of dishes unless it's like something symbolic where every year one of the DBL hosts brings a gift, dish they can leave. I think that's literally a lot of dishes.
I don't have a problem with this. Most people aren't going to do it that way.
Yeah, you're gonna have one dish.
And you'll probably have maybe one or two. And regardless of how many times you host, and I do host a lot, I'm always like, why don't I have a thing that can hold a thing and the thing and the thing? You know, so then it's like, oh, okay, great. This is wonderful. I'll utilize this
I don't
next
believe
year.
that.
I think
One
that's
second.
true. Here's a
Erica
very-
got 4 pantries.
Here's a very important one. Do not cancel at the last minute, okay? Do not do that.
Okay.
Do not do that. Next, offer to come early to help greet the other guests. That frees up the host to finish in the kitchen. All right, if you're coming to my
that's a
house,
good one.
don't come early. I got
Oh, that's a good
stuff to
point.
do, dude.
I know it's coming over.
And finally, help to. I'm ignoring that. Finally, help to clean up after the big meal. I think that's important. I'm a good cleaner-upper. I'm not a great setter, but I'm an awesome cleaner-upper.
Okay, we got to circle back to the do not cancel last minute.
Okay, go ahead.
People need to understand that if someone has invited you somewhere, especially where they're doing something per person, so that's a head count situation, then they have already gone and utilized and spent their resources, time and money in order to accommodate you.
Yes.
So if you're canceling last minute, that is the quickest way to not get invited back next year.
What do you consider last minute?
Even the day of,
Yeah.
the day before is like,
It's
still, you
that's
know,
close.
but like the day, I understand things happen. Things do happen and you have to make concessions for that. But there's a lot of things that I'll look past. If I invite you to something, you say you're coming, I pay for you, it's gonna be a while before I invite you to something again.
A lot of nods up here. A lot of nods. Let us know what you think on the YouTube DBL break. Coming up on DBL, we're remembering former First Lady Rosalynn Carter, how her role in the White House as a champion for mental health will live on. And our interview with plus-size Peloton instructor Ash Pryor. She's sharing how she got past the body shaming to make a name for herself in the fitness industry. You are going to remember her, trust me. We are going to ask vegans out there, how do you deal with no butter or cheese? Any ideas up here? I'm sure there's. There's dairy-free.
I will say this.
It's an absolutely fine.
Yeah, but seriously, it's not rude to say, hey, why don't you just come over after dinner? It's not super rude.
But I think you can also say, like, give them the option, because I know when I've had people come over who had dietary restrictions like that, they'll be like, oh, I want to come because they want, like, the, community aspect. And then when I'm asking, like, oh, is this okay? And they're like, oh, don't worry about it. And then they end up bringing something, which is totally fine.
But it feels the other way around a bit. Because you guys, I'm going to eat before I come. Don't worry about me.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I was doing a special diet, I don't want you guys to do anything. You guys got a full house. You do your thing. I'll meet you guys right after, man. I'll bring some pie or
I
something.
think until she said commune, I hadn't thought about how important that is. And I will say this, I think vegan, remember 20 years ago, it was carrot sticks and that's about it. Now there are options. I was
Right,
buying
but you're
vegan
gonna-
sausage for a while.
But if you're cooking for a house full of people, and then you got to make 2 stuffings, you got to make 2 gravies, you got to make 2, that's a lot of to put on the host.
No, I'm not saying that because vegan. I'm not saying do anything differently. I'm saying vegans are used to kind of fending for themselves, so your dinner won't be. Because if they go to like a street fair or something, like they have to navigate that too. You know?
I'm just saying, yeah.
No,
But I get you. You wanna make sure people have
I'm
100%
more,
right.
I respect other people more. If that was my issue, I'd say, listen, guys, I'm coming after. I'm bringing my own dish. I got this awesome dish you guys got to try.
See,
You know?
I'm pushy though, so I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
you accommodate.
we're going
I'm not-
to
I'm
accommodate
45,
you.
no accommodations.
But last year, well, my brother also. So my brother is a chef, and what he did is he makes the whole base, and then he separates it into a smaller containers.
Olives. Welcome back to DBL. Today is President Biden's 81st birthday.
Yay.
Mazel tov. Why are we being
Happy
quiet?
birthday. I was, yeah.
You're right.
I thought you were going
should
to keep
be.
reading.
No, well, it's
But then you
interesting
just gave one clap and it sat
because
there.
this is an interesting birthday, right? Do you hide it or do you not? He is now the oldest sitting president in American history. But don't expect a lavish party for him, Al, because he's celebrating very privately with family in Nantucket this week. Why? Well, one reason may be that his age is one of his biggest perceived liabilities. Meantime, his favorability is down to around 40%, according to the latest poll. And political strategist David Axelrod, who we've heard from before, has had his chance of winning the 2024 election at about even odds, 50-50. What do we think about all this, Al? You were happy for his birthday. Should he keep it on the DL?
It's an achievement to make it that far. It's and it's weird. We always say it's a liability for his age and his approval rating, but never when it's time to start electing presidents. Because anytime there's a president that's even, you know, in their 40s, oh, they're too young. This new kid, they don't know anything. But then they get somebody with air quotes experience, somebody that looks let's be honest, aesthetics matter, looks the part, very presidential. They are in their late 60s, early 70s. So if they have 2 terms, they will be closer to their 80s at the end, and then everybody goes, they're too old. But it's like, it's us that are voting and also us that disapprove of it. So, Erica, please explain.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. It's not that the argument that his age is potentially a liability is not a valid argument. But I also struggle with the idea that, you know, this is a man who is 81 years old, hiding that he's 81 years old is how that reads.
Right.
And also for people who aren't thinking of it, and it's okay to not think of it in terms of him being president, just how you relate to it as someone who's up in age.
Right.
I think both of those are very valid
Erica,
arguments.
I think it's different with your opinion. I think sadly a lot of Americans probably go through this to a certain extent because if you are of a certain age, you're trying to get hired for a new job or not get fired or be let go. I think a lot of people don't. I know one person in particular did not celebrate a big milestone because of that. They didn't want to make a thing of it.
You've said it often that he just doesn't look like a young 81 either. They're just different 81s. What do you think about this?
He's too old. I'll just tell you, a lot of people want to beat around the bush or say nice things or you're age shaming. There's different 81-year-olds, okay? And he's not on the good side of 81. My dad's upper 70s. He still plays basketball. He goes hunting. He's out all the time. You could go on YouTube and find 80-year-old workouts. There's people out there probably that look physically fit with a six-pack at 80. Joe Biden is not that guy. It has nothing to do that he didn't do a good job or that he's not. For me, you could say whatever you want. He's not my guy.
Yeah.
Okay. I want someone presidential. I was watching the JFK documentary, and it's so amazing, by the way. Our country, the people were in tears still thinking about that day. The country was just horrified by what happened. Tears going down the whole country. If our president was assassinated now, half the country would cheer as opposed to share tears of like our country's falling apart. We are so far away from being presidential and politically. we're in a sad place.
Yeah.
We're in a sad place, and I don't know if he's the guy to represent us around the world.
To bring us back. Well, speaking of that moment when everyone agreed on something, I think we can all agree about Rosalynn Carter. And today we're also remembering the former First Lady and wife of Jimmy Carter. She died yesterday at 96 years old. Rosalynn helped propel her husband of 77 years, Jimmy Carter, from rural Georgia to the White House, and she became one of the most politically active first ladies since Eleanor Roosevelt. So if you didn't know, she devoted much of her life to advocating for mental health and caregivers. Jimmy remembered his wife, saying she was, quote, my equal partner in everything I ever accomplished. She gave me wise guidance and encouragement when I needed it, and get this, the two first met in the hospital when Rosalynn was just 3 days old. They are the longest running marriage between any president. They both won the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Bill Clinton. They still worked at Habitat for Humanity, giving back. They take their Christianity extremely seriously. And the Carter Center has resolved peace and conflict with over 80 countries, and they both started that. For someone in the 80s to think about mental health in the 70s is outstanding, and she deserves all of our love,
Pioneer.
all of our blessings. Someone who was way ahead of her time. We wish you the best transition we can, and rest in power. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to DBL. The fitness world likes to tell women to shrink themselves, but Peloton instructor Ash Pryor proves that being healthy has nothing to do with size. Earlier, we spoke with her about her mission to inspire people of all sizes, colors, and ages. Take a look.
Please welcome to DBL, Ash Pryor.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Ash, you have always been an athlete, but like so many of us, you've been body conscious. I wanted to know, did those insecurities ever make you second guess pursuing fitness as a full-time job?
I would be lying if I said no. And you know, the world, like you said, has taught us as women to be body conscious and to be small, and that means that you're dynamic. And it's been really important for me to stand in my body. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease in 2016, which is a thyroid condition, and that's when I hit my lowest point. And I set out to be a group fitness instructor as like the ultimate goal of I'm back to being who I needed to be and then some. And I found the quote, because Audre Lorde is my favorite author, and it said, I can't be diminished by anything that I accept about myself. And so on the journey, I decided, you know what, this is the body I have. I'm grateful for the things it can do and for the fight that I'm putting in the game. And then once I stepped on that stage, the amount of people that said thank you for representing that being an athlete doesn't have a certain size, that being competent doesn't have a certain size, that dreaming big enough to be the first one, you know, you can't be what you can't see, but someone has to be the first one to step into it. And so I've just really turned my insecurities into my superpower, and through the love of other people stepping into their light, it's really helped me to be more free as well.
You should have bigger goals.
Okay,
You should have bigger goals.
Tell the children, okay? When you didn't start rowing until you were 19, how did it make you comfortable in your skin?
Yeah, rowing is very spiritual. When you're in your boat by yourself and the sun is rising and you hear the water, you are learning to connect with your mind, body, and spirit. And even rowing alongside someone else, you're trusting each other. And so I may not have ever been your friend, and we jump in a boat, and now we have this connection that goes beyond words, that now we can have the tough conversations. And so it's really taught me about the power of community. Once you know yourself and what you stand for, you allow yourself to be more vulnerable and trust other people. And I learned how to stand in my own power once I had my first Learn to Row, an adult Learn to Row, and I had a friend come take it, and she said one of the ladies was crying because she was worried about fitting in the boat. And my friend was like, do you see Ash? Her hips do not lie, and that girl's a powerhouse. You're gonna get in this boat because she can do it too. Wow. And at the end, the lady came up to me and said, thank you for helping me achieve something that I never thought that I could do. Because I was told at other places that I was too big and I needed to lose weight. And today I was able to check something off the bucket list. And that just allowed me to know that I have to do this. I have to keep going forward to show people that you can do it and we'll make things work for you.
Wow. Okay, so what reactions did you receive after you were announced as a Peloton instructor? And did you get any pushback for that?
Yeah, I think, you know, everyone has an opinion, and Peloton does a great job during the vetting process, the interview process, to make sure that you're ready for this, because you are stepping onto a world stage. And I think for anyone who's interested in becoming a fitness instructor, it's important for you to know who you are and stay true to that no matter where you go. And so for myself, I know who I am. I know what I stand for, and I'm not going to waver just because that's not someone's cup of tea, because it is someone else's, and I need to stay true to that. Everyone is always going to say, you know, what they think or how I should be eating or don't wear that top or X, Y, and Z. But I love me, and I nicknamed my stomach Tina. And me and Tina, we are simply the best, and we love ourselves, and we're going to show up for how we are and who we are. I know what it's like to not be able to move my body. I know what it's like to be at the lowest point. I know what it's like to be in a hospital. And if this is the body that I'm blessed with, I'm going to use it to its full potential, and I don't care what anyone else has to say.
Beautiful.
Ash, I love that. Quickly, we have 30 seconds left, but Peloton Row is the brand's latest product. How can DBL viewers get in shape with you this holiday season?
Yes, so the equipment is beautiful. They can also join the Peloton app. There are free classes. There are tiered classes. You can use it on your smart TV, on your phone, as you're traveling. You can also take it to the gym. So there's no excuse not to work out with me.
Wow, I know. This is so cool, and your energy is contagious.
This interview, I'm hearing people say yes and thank you off camera.
I named my stomach Gary, so I'm totally going to work with it.
Ash, thank you so much for stopping by, and congratulations, DBL Nation. If you want to keep up with Ash, follow her on Instagram or TikTok. Also, you can scan this QR code to learn about the Peloton app, where you can find thousands of classes. You can even get Peloton gift cards for your loved ones this holiday season. Thank you again. Happy holidays. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to DBL. Make sure to tune in this Wednesday when we reveal the winner of our giveaway for an all-exclusive stay at any Sandals resort you want. Again, we're making the big announcement this Wednesday.
Can't wait.
Woo! Okay, welcome back. If you're planning on remodeling a bathroom in your house, make it a success with these helpful tips. We're talking about it in today's tips, sponsored by Jacuzzi. First up, if you're repainting, be sure to do it before installing a new tub, toilet, or sink to avoid splatter and missing hard-to-reach spaces. Next, if replacing tiles, seal them with grout and caulk to reduce mildew growth. Finally, add things like towel bars and shelving and decor after everything else is finished. If you want to start your remodel, Jacuzzi can help you do it the right way. With a spa-like experience, Jacuzzi offers an unmatched, stress-free remodeling process. Visit jacuzzibathremodel.com or call 1-800-990-6834.
The colder it gets, the better that jacuzzi sounds.
Gosh.
Oh, just settling into that might have to happen. Give me one holidays.
You got it. We'll see you tomorrow.